Esther. The headline that you're seeing right now is that the CDC acts on a presidential memorandum to update the vaccine schedule. It's coming from RFK, so like anti-vax guy does anti-vax thing. But what this actually does, and this might feel a little bit like tinfoil hattish, but go with me here. Vaccines are removed from that schedule. So there were 17 vaccines required on the schedule. Now there are 11, essentially meaning that the other ones are sort of optional, or now it's kind of stipulated in like if the child is at high risk. There's lots of different things that now are categorized in that way. What that means, though, is that, and I want to be fair, in the document that was released, insurance companies and the federal insurance programs have agreed to continue paying for all of these vaccines, whether required or not.
For now.
For now. And that's the important part to remember, that not all, like when an agreement is reached, it is usually temporary, and this is for any administration. This isn't just this administration, but it's particularly this administration, because we've seen lots of agreements and statements come out that are then forgotten about or intentionally disregarded after. When we get to a place where those vaccines are no longer going to be covered as part of standard of care, parents will have to make a decision if they are going to vaccinate their children according to the original vaccine schedule, or pay out of pocket, and those prices could be $5, $10, $20,000.
$1 million.
Doesn't really, there's no difference to an insurance company or a big pharma company. We will end up sicker, and these companies will profit because either they are charging upfront costs for these vaccines and these medications, or they are treating patients when they are now very ill. The other danger that I think this opens up is this wellness movement where, you know, science is undermined and like junk explanations make the most sense. So the pain in your foot or the twitch in your finger, it's because you have too much metal in your body and you need a detox tea, or you need these eye patches that will cure everything. And they will ship to you for free, and they're available on, you know, social media, TikTok shops, infomercials, all of those things. This is a $4 trillion business per year. And there are so many direct correlations between RFK and the wellness movement and Big Pharma and the Trump administration. So this relaxing on vaccines and a push for alternative healthcare, that is incredibly dangerous in my mind. And I think that is something we have to continuously look out for.
And we're not talking about like holistic practices or integrating holistic practices into your healthcare. But the crunchy mom to alt-right pipeline is so real.
Right.
And it like starts with questioning vaccines and it ends with like racism and eugenics.
Yes. So there is absolutely a really dangerous pipeline for the anti-vax movement to really take effect and to discredit decades of proven science that have allowed for us not to have to be so fearful of like polio popping up out of nowhere. We could make so many revisions in the healthcare space to make this country healthier overall. Absolutely. I have spent my life advocating for some of those things, but that isn't this. It's like the government has heard people let's be healthier. Let's reduce food additives. Let's change curriculum for kids to be outside and playing and active more. And instead they have said, best we can do is measles. We'll give you more measles. We'll ramp those up. So I am concerned about the way that we are just speaking about science in general, but especially in vaccines, because vaccines to me are sort of like the given. Like, this is proven science. It's worked for many years. We don't have these issues.
Ironically, America has had a very long and successful history with vaccines, dating back to this like little thing that people talk about all the time, the
war, the Revolutionary War.
There are very clear indicators that because Washington required all of his troops to be vaccinated against smallpox, including their children and their wives who were also living at camp, that the revolution actually was successful because we were dying at great rates of illness, not starvation. It was starvation and illness primarily. It was incredibly cold winters. But yeah, no, the smallpox vaccination rate across the 13 colonies at that point is what saved us and allowed us to even be the United States of America. So I really struggle with the like far right flag waving, pro America, patriot discussion of how vaccines are like anti American.
This sets the stage for a lot of misinformation to exist, and for us to sort of move away from public health into marketplace, which is concerning for it's very concerning for me. I think it lets clinicians who may align with this political movement to say that they can relax their clinical care advice, and that will then start to cause doubt for a lot of parents and cause confusion, and that will lead to less people being vaccinated and more people becoming very ill because of that lack of protection. And I think ultimately it is designed to make us just unwell. The wellness movement that he pretends to promote all the time is really not about wellness, it's about greed.
This is a way for them to bring eugenics back in a big way. Not that it ever left,
Mhm.
but, for them to start being able to directly go after disabled people in the disability community.
I think you're absolutely right. I think that it's that, but it's also the folks who can't afford to be well because of the way that the the healthcare industry has been established. That's really it's separating well and unwell, and differently disabled and able-bodied folks, and the income disparities.